What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what really influenced it today, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, SoFi did go down 1.51%. So kind of got dragged down with the broader market. As you see, a lot of the broader indexes did go down. So NASDAQ itself was down 1.68%. So a lot of fear somewhat. And plus, I think a lot of people are just holding their breath for tomorrow for Powell. And even though some analysts have said that most likely Powell will come out and purposefully not talk on rate cuts or any monetary policy, you still have that level of optimism in the market that he will kind of come out and say that, yes, a 50 basis point cut is on the table for the September 18th meeting. So you kind of have, we'll just have to wait and see, but you do see a lowering in volume today. So 29.5 million shares being traded, 43.1 is the average. So that's been more of a common occurrence for SoFi over this last week, just lower volume. Not a lot of institutions really willing to buy SoFi right now. So it's not necessarily the best. And right now there has been no actual news from SoFi, no SEC filings, nothing like that. So it's kind of just been piggybacking off of the broader market. There was a couple data points that came out today that really kind of caused some concern in the market. So you did have initial jobless claims coming in line with the forecast of 232 versus, again, the forecast of 232. I think the market generally did want that to be a little bit lower because when that came out, it didn't really influence the futures all that much. But one thing that really did affect the market was this. So the manufacturing data, because it came in at 48, forecast was 49.5. In general, though, anything less than 50 shows more of a contraction in the market. So not necessarily the best. So hopefully people don't start to kind of talk on recession and whatever else. Like I said, I think just the broader market is holding their breath for Powell tomorrow. If that does go negative, then yes, you will probably see a lot of people focusing on this type of data once again and kind of chattering about recessions. But as of right now, fear and greed index is under the neutral category, so 48. So people's appetite for risk is kind of there. So if the data does go good tomorrow and Powell comes out, even though he might not, but if he does come out and says, yes, we're going to have a 50 basis point cut, we're planning on it, that would really fuel the broader market's optimism. But as of right now, though, you do see for the September 18th meeting, there's a strong likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. As you can kind of see, 75.5% is indicating that. And then one positive thing, though, I think the optimism associated to a 50 basis point cut from the September meeting did get moved to the November 7th one. So you can kind of see now there is a likelihood of a 50 basis point cut there. So 25, then a 50. So I think that would really be good for the broader market. And that would be definitely propelling a lot of stocks such as SoFi higher. But in reality, at the same time, you would ideally want SoFi to put out some news or do an interview or something along those lines because they have been relatively quiet. Last news came out on July the 30th. So all in all, it is what it is. Shorts, though, did return a small amount today, so 325,000 shares. 17.22% of the free floats being shorted works out to be 180.3 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 0.73. You do see that negative once again, the minimum negative 0.09%. So there is still that damn broker out there, but utilization 55.22%. And on a positive note, as you can kind of see right here, there is in excess of 10 million shares. So if shorts really wanted to double the hell down with SoFi, there's more than enough ammunition to do so. So I think, like I said, everyone's just holding their breath for tomorrow. And so yeah, it's interesting. On a side note, this is why you do see probably one of the bigger players playing around with SoFi, either BlackRock, Vanguard, or someone who has multiple kind of many millions of shares of SoFi, because you do see the shares available going from around 8.5 to in excess of 10 and then 9.9. So there is one entity that has a lot of shares that seems to be kind of selling, buying, and going back and forth. So this is why I like to analyze this type of information as well. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. As far as options, kind of low dollar value in comparison to, for instance, last week, 2.12 million in calls, 925,000 in puts. So Sentiment wise, 50% of all the options being done were bearish, and of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be kind of above that 750. But in reality, with it so popular, the closest strike price, I'm sure a good chunk of that is just shorts hedging or just retail or something like that. But as of right now, looking at the open interest, you do see 30,000 at that $7 strike price and then 33,000 at that 750. So if Powell, like I said, doesn't say what the market wants to hear and SoFi sells off, you will see shorts kind of increasing tomorrow to kind of suppress it below that $7 mark. Very unfortunate as usual, but that's kind of the name of the game. It is what it is. So these are some of the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. This is a lot of the selling that happened near the tail end of the day. So kind of selling, just last minute fears associated to tomorrow. And then as well, you did have some buying first thing happening. Nothing really crazy if you ask me. Dark pool has been very popular, so I'm going to start bringing this up more and more. Again, my apologies on kind of omitting this and not really bringing this up, but you do see some pretty big transactions. Bad thing about dark pool is you can't see what is buys or sells because you can't really see the bid or the ask. But there was one just done right now at, it looks like 308, and that was for 9.07 million. So pretty good, or pretty big for that. So some entity is paying attention to SoFi behind the scenes. But aside from that, just frequency is definitely there, so a lot of manipulation happening behind the scenes. So let me know your thoughts. As of right now though, with it closing at $7.19, it is right now trading between this S1 and the pivot. So 652 is going to be that next strong support. 725 is going to be that next strong resistance. I'm looking at the 1-day chart as well, so these are very strong support and resistance points. On the actual chart itself, still higher percentile of the Bollinger Band. Going into tomorrow, definitely watch for it to kind of hold that 100-day moving average, and hopefully there's a lot of good support here, so I don't anticipate it breaking below that 50-day moving average unless something absolutely detrimental does happen. But just watch for that 100-day moving average to hold. At the same time, like I signaled, SoFi, based on the stochastic, is rather overbought. So the first sign of weakness associated to SoFi or the broader market, aka this data right here, so the manufacturing data, this is where you will see a lot of kind of selling off happening and a lot of suppression. So that is kind of starting to happen with SoFi, and it kind of happens all the time. So you can kind of see happened at the beginning or kind of mid-July, even right here roughly at the beginning or mid-April, and it happens time and time again. So it's kind of, SoFi is, like I've stated in the past, a very good option trader's stock because yeah, it has these spikes up, but typically 9 times out of 10 it just kind of stays within this set range right here. So if you are doing options, this is where it's a little bit more advantageous just to sell covered calls, sell puts, collect some premiums. So if you guys don't know options, I highly recommend you guys kind of researching them because it can be very beneficial. But surprisingly though, you did see number of retail investors getting into SoFi. So they've been getting in ever since it looks like August the 6th. So I think in general, that's kind of a good thing. If you are part of that group that has been buying, give yourself a shout out in the comments below. And if not, if you've been selling, what have you been doing? On a side note, if you guys have been doing options or dabbling with that, what strike price and expiry date have you guys been picking? So what's your thoughts? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with all that, appreciate all of you watching.